Hey, my name's Ellie, and today I'm going to be rambling about some of my favorite characters. But I didn't want to just leave it at that, so I'm going to be ranking them and just talking about what they say about me. If you don't know, I am an artist. I have all of the socials that are shown on screen, and I would love if you would go check them out. And I'm working on a lot of videos this year, so if you would like to subscribe, see what I come out with next, that would be awesome. But let's just go ahead and get into what we're doing today. Okay, so I have a list of fandoms. I think it's 17 fandoms that I have currently. So just to spice it up so I'm not prepared for what I'm about to be talking about, I thought we could do some dice rolls. So I have the 10 and the 8, and whatever number it comes up with, I'm gonna do that fandom. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our first roll. 13. That is, oh my gosh, that's Young Justice. That's such a strong start. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's a reason that I am so incredibly excited that Young Justice got picked first. And I really doubt that there's anyone watching this video other than my parents maybe that have followed me for long enough to know how much of an impact Young Justice had on my art as a whole. Young Justice was an amazing show that really just cemented my love for the DC universe as a whole. And that love turned into me deciding I want to make my own comic someday and trying to draw, which has then 10 years later led to who I am and what I make right now. So it's near and dear to my heart. I don't know if you can still obviously see an art influence there, like stylistically between that and mine, but it's definitely there. Also, after saying all of that, I am not caught up. I never watched season 4. I watched season 3, and I was so excited for season 3, but terrified that they would ruin my favorite characters. I remember being satisfied with it, but also not liking some of the directions that it was going in. I think they switched from their own streaming service to HBO, so I never watched the last season. So please don't spoil anything. I really need to. Well, okay. If you've watched it and it's good, tell me without spoiling anything. And if you've seen it and it's bad, let me down slowly. So my first favorite character, who overall I would still say is my absolute favorite Young Justice character, is Artemis, or Tigress. I can say spoilers. Spoiler warning for this video. I can say spoilers because I know what I've seen, but I'm not going to, please don't tell me spoilers because that's not fair. But there's just something about like a background that she really should be the bad guy, and she insists on not being the bad guy. And I think there's just such a sympathetic feeling there that, you know, even if you're meant to be bad, you can actually be a good person, that you'll see in a lot of characters that I like. It doesn't hurt that her ship is my favorite ship in the whole show. She's just a very tragic character. Like in season 2, she misses the drama. She goes back into the drama, and then her life goes back to being a tragedy after she finally was happy for 5 years. And that's a little depressing. But it's kind of life too, and so you just can't help but relate to her. Gosh, all of that in mind, don't look at the characters, that's a spoiler. All of that in mind, okay, I'm gonna allow myself to move things later, like at the end, if I look at it and I'm unhappy. I think for right now, I'm gonna put Artemis at A tier because, like, of how much of an influence her and the show have had on me and how I still see that in the things that I do today, and just a love for the character. But I can always go back and change it if I feel like it's crazy later. And something else that I want to make sure that I credit, because I feel like it's a very normal thing, is favorite characters being added or replaced, or maybe making the favorite even better. I want to address, just like as I got older, I kind of evolved and also like this character. I feel like this one may or may not be a good example of that, because I was doing Jade Cheshire, which, spoiler, is Artemis's older sister. So she has a very similar story, and I love that no matter what, even like they hate each other sometimes, but they still protect their sister. I think that's nice. I think I'm gonna have to put Jade at B tier. She's not an Artemis level for me. But the reason, like, it's hard to find Young Justice merch. Like that, I'm not collecting DC stuff actively anymore, but if I see something Young Justice still, I'm going to buy it. So it's not like I had much in the first place, but I had more Cheshire stuff than Artemis stuff. And it might just be because they're hard to find, but I have this love for her. I tried to make a cosplay for her and didn't get to finish it. I feel like it does a disjustice to Jade Cheshire if I don't put her on this list. Okay, I think that's everything I have to say about those two. Let's see. What are we getting? 3. Ooh, Pokemon. That's an easy one. Okay, so I know what people associate the final evolution of this Pokemon with, but my favorite Pokemon of all time always been Ralts. And I like his evolutions as well, but little baby Ralts will always be the baby. So my first ever Pokemon cards in elementary school, I got Ralts and Gardevoir. I don't think I ever got Kirlia. If I did, it was a while later. But obviously it was on the little circles like evolves from this for Gardevoir. And I just loved their design. Something about it clicked with me. And then my first Pokemon game that is still my favorite was Ruby, and I caught a Ralts in that game, and I was so excited because I was like, I know this one. I have the Pokemon card of this one. It's so cool. I have not drawn Ralts often. I think I've drawn Gardevoir more because I feel like a lot of people default to the final evolution of a Pokemon. I want they make like life-size plushies of every Pokemon, and everyone's been complaining about how they're making one of Gardevoir lately. Give me the Ralts. Give it to me. I need it. But a tier list compared to these two, I feel like Ralts is such a childhood icon for me, but I don't know if it's as ingrained in me as a person as these two characters are. I don't know. Oh, this is... How do I compare superhero and villain to tiny little Pokemon boy? I feel like lately I've played more Pokemon than I've watched anything related to like Young Justice. But okay, what I'm gonna do for now, because I do feel like Young Justice has more of an impact overall on stuff that I do and like now, I'm gonna put Ralts under Jade, but I would not be surprised if that changes. But that's what I'm gonna go with right now. And I think that's the only one that I put down to be in the tier list, because that's just number one favorite Pokemon, absolutely no competition. Now, if we're going to talk about how I like Pokemon that are iffy, I also love Lopunny, but I just might like feminine designs. And you know who else likes feminine designs? Weirdos. Let's see the next one. 2. Oh, this one is going to be interesting. So this is a fandom I actually don't know much about, if I'm being honest, because I watched this show when I was really little, but I have made art about this multiple times, so I'll explain why in just a second. So I wanted to talk about Cyber Chase. Specifically, the character Jackie was my favorite when I was a kid, and when I was like 5, I don't know what my actual age was, I had a nightmare where I found Jackie unalived and her head was replaced with a balloon. If that's not the craziest dream you've ever heard a 5-year-old having, and it scared me. And I've made a couple art pieces about it for school and then just as like a redo, and if I'm gonna put them up on screen if I can find them. I know I can find the second one, I just don't know if I have pictures of the first one I did for school. But that haunts me. To have your head replaced by a balloon? Now, ranking wise, I'm not 100% sure. So I don't really remember much about the show or the character, but it was like a typical, I think, like PBS kids show where you explore things, learn things. So overall, I don't think she had much of an impact on me other than that dream. Maybe I do D for dream. Nothing against the character herself. Please, if you like her, tell me more about her. But the only reason that I think about her often is that dream. My brain made it scary. I think, so I went to read the wiki for Jackie real quick, and she sounds like me, known to be melodramatic, such as catastrophizing the worst possible outcomes in a few episodes. And it is always a requirement for her to create a plan before she and the Cyber Squad can begin. Big dislike for insects and bugs. Ew, ew, and double ew. That sounds like me. So I'm gonna put her in C. That's the baseline me. She act like me. I just Now I realize it's impossible for me to roll a 1, but it is possible for me to roll 18, which isn't on my list. So if I get an 18, I'm going to count that as a 1, just for future notice. Let's see. 9. Ooh, hell yes! That's Teen Titans! Oh, that's exciting. So, Teen Titans is quite possibly the one I'm most excited to talk about. It is, overall, probably my favorite show in the whole world. I have not watched it in a while. I am not super focused on the fandom or the show at the moment, but I have a tattoo. I have so many things. I own so much Titans things. My mom called it my gateway drug to comics. That is how integral Teen Titans is to me. It was my gateway to comics. And although I have not watched it, like I said, in a while, I had watched specifically season 1 so many times because I rewatched the show as a whole so many times, and then I would start rewatching and then sometimes only get through season 1, and then months and months would pass and I feel like I have to start at season 1 again. I could quote season 1 line by line. And so then I had to start watching in season 2 because I would get bored, and then I would start to get that way with season 2, and I think that's part of why I haven't watched it in so long. I have such a encyclopedia for the Teen Titans in my head. And I first liked it in like elementary school. Maybe 7 is the age that's popping in my head. I don't know. But the first time I ever was watching it, Starfire was my favorite character. And I think she's a lot of little girls' favorite character. And I still love her. I think but there's just something about her character just being so sweet and so powerful. Seeing a girl being powerful is always amazing. And, you know, keeping on that track, they did not let down with Raven either. And when I got back into Teen Titans I want to say it was the 7th grade, so I must have been like 11, 12, 13, around there. Me and Raven and my like broody preteen to teen self just connected. And like with Artemis, she has this background with her dad being this evil demon that she's supposed to be bad, and she learned with these people that truly love her that she doesn't have to be, that she can be who she wants to be and do what she wants to do. And she taught me how to be fucking sarcastic. I just also think her design is iconic. She's my one finished cosplay that I've ever done because I freaking love her. She's my tattoo. I have a whole shelf on my bookshelf dedicated to just items of her. When people see her, they think of me. She is my favorite character of all time. A great character that manages to bring like a maybe more negative or dark perspective to things without being a bad person and still doing the right thing. Okay, Raven's S tier, and Starfire, I think I have to put her A. Yeah, that was probably the easiest ranking so far. I would not list Starfire as like a favorite character for the show, so I feel like she has to be under Artemis. And then Raven is the only one so far who is worthy of S title because she and me are connected. We're connected. Okay, we did that one. 16. Naruto! So Naruto for me is another huge one. I started watching it by complete accident though. On my best friend's birthday in 2020, my now husband turned it on the TV as a joke just to have some background noise. And I happened to watch a few clips of Naruto fucking around in his classroom, being himself. No, I remember what it was because it was the first episode. So it was him failing at making clones. I was just like, that looks like a fun little show. Next day, I needed something to put on in the background of me working on a big project like I often do. And I just got freaking hooked. I feel like part of it was just 2020 was a hard year. I had so much going on. I worked full time and I went to school full time. And I was also planning a wedding. Like I was trying to do everything. And it was just nice to have this escape in these characters in this world. And I just fell in love with it. And I got really involved with the fandom. It doesn't take that large of a scroll on most of my socials, I think, to find that. And especially with the group that I ended up with, I love that fandom so much. So my absolute favorite character that I will always pretty much claim, who was my favorite for the first watch through, and I still love him, is Gaara, someone who has a rough background that eventually learns that he can be whatever he wants and be a good person and make friends with the main character, and is literally just the most innocent, sweet dude in the end. And oh my god, I love Gaara. And he was treated so badly. He had such a rough childhood, and to see him end up in a better place. I'm not gonna talk about anything that happens in Boruto here, because Boruto's still ongoing. So so we'll see. I'm not fully caught up. I caught up like a month ago, 2 months ago, something like that. Then when I watched through the second time, I already appreciated Shikamaru, but just watching him again with like a new light of everything he does throughout the series, he just really struck with me. You could argue that he is equal to Gaara in some ways, but I think Gaara will always have that precious part where he was my favorite character on the first watch through, but Shikamaru really stuck with me. You know, Shikacho is such a good team, and you know, the fandom behind specifically that group is just so amazing. They're the ones that I talk to the most. They are some of just the best people. Shikamaru, for once, doesn't come from a bad background, but he comes from a privileged one, and I think he is a privileged character that's able to take a step back and be like, hey, maybe this is something we should change, and he is smart and he learns, and his dad lets him take those steps to learn, and I think that that's really cool. And then it's of course really relatable as a Taurus that he's lazy but is still just this smart guy who just kind of accidentally finds himself in such a talented group. And lastly, I think because of her connection to the first two, and just I like strong women, I guess, Tamari. She is definitely, I think, my favorite female character of Naruto, and I have made so much Shikatima art over the years because they felt so natural. I knew from the moment that she saved him in that forest that they would end up together, and I was so happy when I was right. She's like an older sister. I'm an older sister. She takes care of her brothers and then is able to still have her own happy ending. She's an ambassador. Just went through so much and then had a happy ending, and I feel like has grown as a person. Her and her brothers were gremlins in the Chunin exam arc. I don't know. I just could gush about all three of these. Oh no, now I have to rank them. Oh gosh, this is gonna take me a second. This is hard. I don't necessarily want to put all three in the same one. I think I'm gonna do A for Gaara. I don't know if I want him here or here. Fuck. I'm gonna do that for now, I think. And then put the couple together on B. I hope that's not too harsh. I just want to make sure I save room for everyone. Hopefully it's right, but if it's not, I will edit at the end again. Just see what the next one is. 12 Justice League Animated. Okay. So the first time I remember watching the Justice League animated series, I believe was when I was in like kindergarten, and it's an early 2000s show, so that adds up. And I remember having this little hot girl action figure, and I loved it. I don't think I ever found it again when I got back into it, and I think it was high school, but I think I liked her as a kid because of her design and how cool it is just with the wings. And then when I watched it when I was older, her story was just so good. This is spoilers, but I'm sure a lot of you haven't watched this one, so I'll just kind of briefly summarize it. You know, first she's just this random hero that's involved in the Justice League, and she gets romantically involved with another member, and you're like, oh, this is really cute, they're in love, and they're both really cool and badass, and her story the whole time was that she was lost and couldn't get back to her home planet. And then you find out that she was there as a spy for her home country, her home planet, to come and take over the Earth, and she has to face her friends and lover that she did not expect to make, and then deal with the aftermath when eventually they are forced out. Except for her, she manages to stay because they don't hurt either anymore because she decided to save the Earth. The fact that I can recite it so easily, it's just so good. And then she comes back in the new series, and is just, there's tension with everybody, and it's just so different. And I feel like it's such a realistic portrayal of, like, you know, a character that regrets doing something that betrayed people that she cared about, and how sometimes things don't get better, at least right away. Eventually, she has a somewhat happy ending, but it still just doesn't feel right. And I don't know, I love it. And the more I talk about it, I just want to watch all these shows again. Oh man, I think ranking wise, she has to go in A. I think I would put her over Starfire. I just don't know about the other two yet. I might rearrange this. I just love all of these three, and Starfire. But these are like my favorite characters from the show, and she's a favorite, but not the favorite, so I feel like she can go a little bit farther down. If I had to choose another character for Justice League, I'd probably do Green Lantern John Stewart. I really always loved him. I get so excited when I see him on merch instead of Hal Jordan. I can't even remember his freaking name. That's just the Green Lantern that I knew because he's the one that's in the Justice League cartoon. Let's see, what are we doing next? 14. Oh no, Miraculous Ladybug. Okay. I had a big phase of Miraculous Ladybug, but I am nowhere near caught up at all. And just clicking on the wiki to look at this is scary. I have already seen Marinette in the new animation, but I had not seen him, and I'm a little scared. But my favorite character is Adrien Agreste, aka Cat Noir. I feel like this follows the pattern again. He comes from a spoiled ass background, and he has every right to just be a bad person. He's spoiled, but also lost his mom, and his dad is distant. He's stuck with this assistant most of the time. He has to go model and drive around and do all these things he doesn't want to do, and yet he's one of the nicest freaking people. And I think Cat Noir is a fun superhero. And I'm gonna be honest, Marinette gets on my nerves sometimes, and I don't think I'm alone in that, and I feel like that's why I'm not necessarily caught up. I should catch up. I think that could be fun, but there's also so many links about TV series and movies and continuities and sagas. I had enough of that when I was into DC Comics. Tier list wise, even though I love Cat Noir, and I definitely have drawn him, because I think this is possibly the first fandom I got into after I started drawing consistently instead of before. I just feel like he has to be C, because he's definitely, if you ask me like my favorite characters, he's not someone I would think of first. I do think he's above Jackie. That's where I'm going to put him for now. I feel like Miraculous Ladybug fans might eat me alive though, but that's okay. 8. Ooh, okay. We're gonna do Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So I know most people, when they think of Marvel or Avengers, are gonna think of the live action stuff. And I was really into live action stuff for a while, up until, spoiler, Iron Man died. And then after that movie that I can never remember the name of off the top of my head for some reason, I don't know if I just was worn out of it, or I just felt like the story should have ended there. I think it was a mix of the two. But my favorite character in both the live action Avengers and this cartoon, which I freaking love if you haven't seen it, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the theme song is a bop. But yeah, Hawkeye's my favorite in that one too. He has the whole purple suit. He's another scenario of like he was part of the bad guys. Wasn't he? No. Okay. So he was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then Black Widow turned out to be a double agent or triple agent, something like that, and betrayed him but didn't betray him. It's complicated, but they thought he was a bad guy because they associated him with her, but he wasn't. And he's just a fun character. I'm gonna not lie and say I remember everything he does in the show, but I remember really enjoying him, and I love just the whole he can't miss and everyone's using all these magical powers and he just has a bow and arrow. I think it's fun. I think also this is where I can start making the joke that I love characters that are related to birds and archers, because there's so many. Just go through the list at the end. There's so many related to birds and archers. I just have a type. Considering how little I am really remembering right now about him alone and not just the story, you might need to go with Cat Noir. I think I'm going to put him over Cat Noir. Hello? Thank you. 9. We've done 5. Oh, hey. So we're going to talk about Super Mario Party, all that Nintendo stuff. So I made fan sites about Princess Daisy because she is the superior princess and no one will ever tell me otherwise. Ever. Everyone always knows Peach, and I've always loved Daisy because when I was a kid I was like, she looks more like me, and I always played as her. I still always play as her, and she is the superior princess, hands down. She wears my favorite colors. She has similar hair color to me. She's very girl power. She don't need your help. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like her mini game in the recent Mario Party because it's sports, and I'm not a sports person. She's very tomboyish. I think that's another thing. I'm very not girly, but I wouldn't say I'm tomboyish because I feel like tomboy and sports go together, which is, the game that she has in the new Mario Party. I'm not that, but I love Daisy. I think Daisy needs to go with Ralts over Ralts. Yeah, that feels right for now. That feels right. 16, we've done 10. This is a fandom, but it's not really characters, but I was trying to think of fandoms that I have been involved in, and this is definitely one of them. I feel like a lot of people that want to make YouTube videos have possibly been in quite a few different sections of YouTube. I know I have, and one of the biggest for me outside of art is The Sims and Simmers. And I definitely feel like I used to be more into the Sims community on YouTube during the Sims 3 era, which is the one I'm calling my favorite that we're going to be talking about. God, what is that? Like over 10 years ago now? 10 years ago? I don't know. That The Sims 4 has been out. I think I started playing The Sims 3 in either 6th or 7th grade, so I was like 12-ish. So that means it's been like 13 years that I've been watching and playing Sims. And the reason Sims 3 is my favorite game, it was my first Sims game, so I am a little bit biased, but it's open world. You have so many options for your Sims, and you don't have to load every time you leave the lot, but you don't get to go to other worlds unless you have mods, so it's kind of a trade-off. And it's huge, so it's hard on a lot of computers. That's why a lot of people couldn't play it. That's also why a lot of us that did play The Sims were like having these giant gaming PCs just to play The Sims. You don't really need that anymore with The Sims 4. But there's just something about The Sims 3 with the slightly like realistic graphics. It had so many things for realism that The Sims 4 is slowly catching up on over 10 years, but it's not really the same. It's just my all-time favorite Sims game, and I love the fandom. I like to participate in it, and I still think it's superior to The Sims 4, but my current computer, my little Mac, it likes to crash, and I'm so sad. If anyone knows a solution. It does feel silly putting this on a tier list with characters, though. I feel like I have to put it in D, simply because how do you compare? I'm just gonna stick it here because I wanted to talk about it and how I love it and like the fandom, and I just feel like it's like a community of a lot of women, but there's men too, that just like to play around with life and make fun characters and drama and just have fun with storytelling in a way that's different from like writing, where you have to be serious and make everything make sense and not have any plot holes. With The Sims, you can just fuck around and find out. It's great. 8. We've done. Oh my gosh. 14 we've done. 10 we've done. Okay, 18. That's what we were saying would be number 1, which is Disney. Disney is one fandom that I have been in throughout my entire life. It was my favorite to watch when I was a kid. And, just more movies come out, more time passes. I feel like it makes sense to have a chunk of favorite Disney characters because there's a lot of Disney media. We're going to start with my OG, Minnie Mouse. I have a childhood plush of Minnie Mouse that has followed me through everything, and she will always be so dear to my heart. Specifically the red dress Minnie Mouse. The pink one, the newer pink one, just isn't the same. You need the red one. I don't think there's much more to say about Minnie Mouse. Like, she's Minnie Mouse. She's the female mascot of Disney, and you love her or you don't. That's how it is. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say other than like she is my childhood stuffed animal, and she will always be a favorite, hands down. She's going in A. Then we have Snow White, who was my first favorite Disney princess that I watched over and over and over, and everyone says that her movie is boring, but little Ellie didn't think so. Little Ellie likes Snow White. It's a simple but effective story. It's the first big animated movie. It's pretty. I don't think there's much I can say about her either. She's just the first of them all. And I think, as a kid, I just loved the simple story. Princess, run away, meet dwarves, fall asleep, kiss prince, happy ending. Like, you can't go wrong. I think I'm gonna do top of B. No, I don't want to put her over. I'll put her over Daisy. And then, as a teen, I think it was a few years after Tangled came out, I was like, Tangled is the shit. It is animated masterpiece. The prince isn't a prince, and she hits people with pans, and the music is beautiful. I fucked with Tangled, and I did fuck with Frozen when it first came out, but I feel like I'm tired of Frozen now. So we're going with Tangled. I think I just love a good romance story, and hers is a little more realistic than Snow White's. It's hard comparing the love I have for all of these different characters when they're so different. I never thought that I would be sitting here comparing Rapunzel and Shikamaru. like this for now. And then last, I did go through a huge Beauty and the Beast phase when the live action movie came out, which I know other people hated, but me and my friends were like jamming out. The new Beast song gave me chills. Just something about the smart girl, came from a poor background, and she's not afraid to like turn herself in to get her dad back, which I am very jealous of bravery, I think. I do love Belle, but I don't think she'd be like the first princess that I list for myself, nor would my parents list for me. So I'm gonna put her at the top of C for now. It really loves 8s. Oh my god. Can I please get a number that I have not rolled? Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna reduce the dice because this is getting old. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that kind of works, doesn't it? There are 6 left, so we're gonna roll this dice. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my gosh. So I put down Boys Over Flowers / Meteor Garden. I'm not gonna lie, putting this one down was really funny, and I was not in this fandom for more than like a month or so, like officially, but I still love this story, and I just thought it'd be a fun thing to bring up. Boys Over Flowers and Meteor Garden are the same story. I think it's originally just called Boys Over Flowers. It's a manga that's been turned into dramas in so many different countries. The specific ones that I watched with friends were the Korean one from 2009. So the Korean one from 2009, and then Meteor Garden is a Chinese Netflix version of the same story from 2018. And 2018 or 2019, might have been 2019, is when me and my friends watched this. And it's a fun story. I'm gonna kind of give you a brief summary while I get these pictures. It's this group of 4 popular rich dudes, and their leader is kind of a jerk, but in one way or another, the main girl gets herself wrapped up in their drama, and he decides he has a crush on her, and she's not feeling it at first, and he kind of just has to convince her that he is not the jerk that he seems to be. And it's, you know, it's a K-drama and just drama in general, so there's some really funny moments. It's crazy, but I think it's a really fun show if you like this sort of thing. Now, because I watched it in 2019 and it is currently 2025, I do not remember every single detail. Part of me now wants to rewatch this too. I have so much to rewatch. This one's a little harder because it involves subtitles, but I remember enjoying Meteor Garden more. I think that they do rewrite the story a bit more, and it's less cheesy kind of fun story, but I liked how they changed it. I felt like it was a little bit more realistic in ways that they were doing it, and I really freaking loved the main guy. I loved how he was portrayed. I found out I still follow the actor on Instagram. I just really enjoyed him. He was a little bit, I think, softer. He's like the second kid of a rich couple that just wants him to take over the business, and he just feels a little ignored and just only liked because of who he is. And he just meets this girl who doesn't know who she is. It's like all the fan fiction in the world. But compared to all the rest of these that has a bigger impact on my life, I'm gonna do top of C, because I do love him. I don't want to put him lower than these guys, but he doesn't have a super large impact on my life as a whole, you know what I mean? And then I did the main character for the Korean version because I don't remember feeling the same sympathy and like for the guy in that version, and I don't remember hating her, so I just went with it. I wanted to do both versions because I did watch both. I guess I'll just do her next to him for now, even though they're from not the same show. Give me not a 5. 4. Oh. So I rolled to talk about American Girl dolls, which you would think I was part of that fandom at a young age, but actually I was around 13, which is, you know, I enjoy myself. I still think they're really cute and fun, and having little miniature things is so fun. I know that people, like my parents, made fun of me for liking it at 13. Other people probably were like, what the fuck is this girl on? But whatever. I liked it. It was another thing that I found so many videos talking about American Girl dolls dolls and how to take care of them properly, and just the love for these dolls on YouTube. I don't know. I still think that they are adorable. They're just really expensive. I think when I was into them, they were $100, and so I was using that as a reference to see how much inflation has gone up. And this is a luxury item, and it's always going to be expensive. But I was just wondering, because I was like, as a kid, I was always trying to save up $100 to get dolls, and now I think they're like $200 and something. So I probably wouldn't buy one now. And before I even liked the dolls, I don't remember if I read the book or watched the movie first, but the Samantha Parkington, I think I read the book. She's one of the like historical dolls, and I just really loved her story. I never got her, but I remember I liked her story, and I knew she was an American Girl doll. And then when I got into American Girl dolls, I saw the doll and I was like, ooh, she's cute. But I was more into getting one that looked like me, and then like I was gonna buy like friends for me. I only got 2 dolls. I also liked, there was an American Girl doll like of the year, I think. Yes. Krissa. So Krissa Maxwell was the 7th Girl of the Year, released in 2009. I was a weird kid, and I was obsessed with specifically like the Krissa movie for a while when I was into the American Girl dolls. Just, it's probably gonna be terrible if I rewatch it right now, I'm not gonna lie. But she was like bullied, and like after she moved somewhere for a new year, wasn't able to fit in, and just trying to figure out who she was and how to deal with this. It was just like this emotional movie. Yeah, it's just a story about bullying and how to deal with it, and how it affected her, and becoming friends with some of the girls eventually. And it just hit me at 13. I just felt, like I didn't fit in, and I guess it just hit me. And then I am almost entirely certain that this was the doll I bought as me. I had bangs at the time, and I wanted the bangs, and my mom was like, you might not always have bangs, are you sure you want the bangs? And I was like, I have bangs right now, so yes, I want the bangs. And it's like the only way I have immortalized those bangs, because I hated them after a while. But I got it when it was the Just Like You line, I believe. But it's like American Girl of Today, Just Like You, My American Girl, and Truly Me. They have gone through a bunch, but it's just, you're supposed to be able to buy a doll that looks like you. But I don't think they make as many as they used to, which is unfortunate. But I am glad that I was able to, like, 19 sounds familiar, like, which sounds so stupid that Just Like You 19 sounds familiar. But I'm like almost 100% sure this is the exact doll that I bought to look like me. So that's fun. I am officially on the tier list. I don't know. I feel like Samantha, I'm gonna put the bottom of C, because like she's an actual character, and I don't remember too much about her, but I liked her story, so she can go right there. I should have put Chrissy in here, but I don't feel like it. We'll just say this is like all the American Girl dolls that have stories I'm putting right here. You know what? I'll put them here. And then the one that looks like me will go right here, because I don't know how to rank that, to be honest, because it's just a doll that looks like me. It's me. Like there's no like real design or character to go over or impact on me other than that's me, and I think doll cool. So that's what I'm gonna do with that one. I don't have a 6 anymore. Let's go down to 4. 4. Ha ha ha! We've got One Piece. One Piece. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, you need to watch One Piece. So One Piece is my most recent fandom. I am currently involved in the One Piece fandom, not as in depth as I was in the Naruto fandom. I make art for my favorite character and who I ship her with for the most part, and it's mostly just for me, and I follow what other people make in the fandom, but I just like to enjoy it by myself. But it has been a long time since I fell in love with a character as much as I have fallen in love with Nico freaking Robin. Nico Robin. She seems like she's this evil femme fatale when you first meet her, but you're questioning her motives, and then eventually, Luffy says she's good and you want to trust her, and she proves herself to not be a threat, and you start to think of her as part of the group, and then you find out her real backstory, and you want to sob your freaking eyes out. She has every right to be the despicable person the government tries to make her out to be, and yet she's still, when she's working for an evil organization, secretly lets people live and does good things and tries to stop him while still helping herself. There's so many trends with her. The should be a bad guy but is a good guy. The bird name, she's a weird person. Like my husband joked that I like weird girls and Gara. So like Robin, Gara, and Robin. But I have, in such a short amount of time compared to Raven, gotten a shelf just for Robin, and I'm constantly looking for Nico Robin items, and I draw her all the time. She's like a muse, and like I don't know how to describe to someone who does not already watch One Piece how well all of the characters, but like for me especially her character, is written. Like you feel for her so much. And I don't want to talk about what's going on in the manga for her right now, because I know that there's a lot of One Piece fans that only watch the anime, but like I was ready to cry. I don't think I cried, but I cried watching some of the anime, and it's so good. Like, I also was watching One Piece at a time, end of 2022 a little bit, but mostly 2023 when I was watching it was a hard year for me mentally. So to have these characters that I could see also went through it and like got better and had friends and just being happier, like it is just so nice, and I love her, and I wish I had better words. I don't have good words. I just have emotions, and my emotions say I love Nico Robin. I can never put a character above Raven, but Nico Robin has gotten so fucking closer than anyone else ever has. I think Raven just has the connection with my soul from me as a child, that she will always, for me, take that number one spot, even if I don't currently think about her as much as I think about Nico Robin, which sounds a little cheaty, but that's okay. That's okay. If I had to choose other One Piece characters to put on here, I just knew there was no competition. Like some of these I put multiple because over time I learned to love other characters as well in like almost an equal amount, but there was no competition for Robin. Like she is 100% the number one character. If that ever changes, I'm sure you'll know, but the runners up would be Nami and Frankie, because I love the girls. I love my One Piece girls. With the exception of Big Mom. I'm not really a Big Mom fan, but I love Pudding. Yeah, I love my One Piece girls. And then Frankie, I had a moment where I thought I didn't like him after Dressrosa because I hated his fight in Dressrosa. But otherwise, I've always liked him and I think he's great. But I just wanted to show how much I love Robin. And she is the only one from One Piece that I'm putting down. Got 3 more. Okay, so this role is for Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I think is one of the first shows other than Teen Titans that I watched over and over. So I liked it towards the beginning of middle school, I think a little bit before I really officially got into Teen Titans again. And there was a summer where all I remember me and my sister doing is laying in like our second living room. We call it a playroom, but we mainly just watched TV for us kids in there. We laid on an air mattress, rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and ate Pop-Tarts. And I love that memory. My favorite character was always Katara, and I would still list her as my favorite. I just feel like I wonder sometimes if I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender for the first time as an adult instead of as a child, if I would pick a different favorite character. Because for me, picking Katara as my favorite feels like how I first picked Starfire as my favorite. Like she's kind of, she is this strong, pretty woman who, has the traumatic background of losing her mom and just trying to recover from that and being the only waterbender left, just able to pick herself up and be a great person after that, and just admirable. And I'm one of the people that really loved her and Aang together, and that might be another thing, is like I watched it as a kid. I don't know. But she's just like the girl. She is the girl, and I've always vibed with her. Like she said no to sexism and got to learn how to do waterbending. Like she's just a admirable figure, and I really like her. I think I would put Katara. She's just such a strong character. I'm gonna put her in A, I think, for now. And then, so when I did watch through it again when I was a little older, I found myself vibing with Toph a lot more. Like I said, I don't think I would say that she is above Katara, but I do think it's an interesting representation of me changing as I get older. Because again, I think Katara is just like an easy choice for a little girl to pick. Like she's the first girl you meet at the beginning. She's pretty, she's cool, she has powers. And then you meet Toph and she's a little rough around the edges, and she could be a little mean, and I don't think that's necessarily what a little girl would pick, but I think it's relatable as an older teen or just a person because she's going through it. She's being told that she can't do anything, and she's trying to prove that she can, and they're still just not listening to her. And she's funny. She makes all those blind jokes, so I just appreciate Toph more now that I'm older. I think she deserves a good little bloop. Yeah, I think that B is a good rank. Okay, we got 2. I'm gonna flip a coin. This doesn't count because I haven't. Okay. Heads is the first one. Tails is the second one. Heads, so we'll do this one next. Okay, so Heads gives us Percy Jackson, which I think is the first like big book series that I like finished. I finished the first, the first series is like 5 books, and then I started the next one. I don't think I ever finished it, and I'm definitely not caught up with anything they have going on right now. But I adored it, and my favorite character was always Annabeth, and she's just this cool, smart girl. Like, what's not to like? And she's the daughter of the smart god that gives, like, you know, and war. And man, I wish I remember more about the series than I do. But I thought she was the coolest. And I loved the development of not only her, but her and Percy, and just their back and forth and getting together in the end, and the underwater kiss. And I had a whole book about it, like them and just the characters, or I don't know if I had, like it was mine or I got it from the library, but I took a picture of her portrait because it's your favorite character when you just stare at it and you're like, I love you. That's what I was doing with her. So I took a picture on my little slide phone and I set it as my wallpaper. And that was my wallpaper when I lost it at a furniture store. And then we had to go pick it up after I already got a new phone because I lost that one. I don't know. I wish I had more words about Annabeth. I just remember thinking she was the coolest. And like, you know, her boyfriend goes fucking missing in the second series. And like, she's still being a badass and trying to find him. Like, they didn't show her sitting on her fucking ass. Like, hello? That's what I'm talking about? I wish I remembered more about her is the problem. That just after talking her up, putting her in C feels freaking wrong. If we're talking about the impact on me and what they say about me, and I don't remember all the details of her story. Her cap is cool though. Doesn't she have the cap that turns her invisible? I'm just gonna put her there for now. I did think of another fandom to put in here, but I'm gonna do that one last. The last one that I had pre-listed is X-Men Evolution. So similar to the Avengers one that we talked about earlier, I preferred this to the live action movies. Well, okay, just Marvel movies in general. I actually have only watched one X-Men movie, but my favorite character in X-Men Evolution, which if you're wondering, X-Men Evolution is the X-Men, but a good portion of the characters are teenagers that are going to high school, and the rest are like, they're almost like camp counselors. And the world doesn't know about mutants yet for most of it, so it's just them trying to keep it a secret and just live their little teenage lives. And I mean, I watched it as a kid, so I think that definitely might make a difference for how much I liked it. You know, watching it as an adult might be different, but this is what I think of when I think of X-Men. I just really loved the show. I don't remember when it came out. It's older though. And my favorite character was Kitty Pryde. She also goes by Shadowcat. I just don't feel like I've seen her in things other than the animations and the comics. She has the ability to phase through physical objects, and she can mess up electronics and this and that. She's this little girly girl. She's really fun. I always think of this clip of her in the show where her and Rogue are like dancing, and it's Rogue copying her dancing. And I don't know, I liked her hairstyle, and she wore pink, which there was times in my life where I didn't want to admit that I like pink, but now everything I own is pink. And I think I want her here. I think that works. So the fandom that I forgot, that I absolutely cannot believe that I forgot, is iCarly, which we're not going to talk about. The producer of this show, it's not, like, the issues with that are not part of, like, my childhood memories with it. I found it, like, later in the show's life, when it was just on, like, reruns probably. Fell in love with the show. I loved especially Sam. And I know I said we're not going to talk about the producer, but I also, through this, like, I loved Sam and Carly. iCarly. I binge watched the show over and over, and I actually ended up following the girls on everything and just seeing what they do. I also listened to all of their music, and I don't just mean Miranda Cosgrove. More people have heard Miranda Cosgrove's. I was obsessed with some of Jeanette McCurdy's songs, which I shouldn't brag about because I know I'm probably not the only one, but I don't think most people know about her music, and I think from what she was saying in her book that I have and I read and it is amazing and you should read it, it doesn't seem like a lot of people really listened to her music, and I loved not only iCarly and Sam, but Jeanette McCurdy, and I think that's why her book had such an impact on me. I don't want to talk about it too much, but just hearing her say that she wanted people to come up and recognize her and her name and not just Sam, it just makes me sad. Anyway, iCarly as a concept was such a fun show. I would also watch YouTube, and I wanted to be an internet star and just to watch these girls kind of struggle with different things and have fun little dramas. I did like Victorious as well, but not as much. I cried when I found out that iCarly was gonna end, and then I stopped watching Victorious after that, and I never watched Sam and Kat because I knew it just wouldn't be the same. And then I heard people hating on Jeanette because of all the drama that people said happened between her and Ariana, and they were like, I love Ariana, blah blah blah, this girl, and I was like, well, I love Jeanette McCurdy, so Ariana Grande. And I'm still not huge into Ariana Grande. I don't hate her though. I mean, she's done some shit, but I like a couple of her songs, one or two. Anyway, Sam, I don't know. I feel like my love for her, and then my love for the cast, and then what was going on behind the scenes, it makes it all so different. I think I'm gonna put her in B. Yeah, I think that is reasonable. Okay, but do I like where I've put all of these? That is the question. Hi, this is VoiceOver Ellie here. I'm going to talk over this part of me just double checking if I'm happy with the rankings here to talk about just one last newer fandom that I forgot to mention. So, Mouthwashing is a game that came out at the end of last year, and it's psychological horror, and it's so good. I've watched so many different people play through it, and it just really messes with your head. I highly recommend you play or watch it. And my favorite character in that is Anya, and for most of the story, she's just in the background, and it comes around at the end, and you learn what happened with her. And it just sticks in your head, and she's such a good character, and I don't want to spoil anything because I feel like this is so new that people should go check it out. And I've made art about her. I've followed a lot of the fandom on Tumblr and Instagram, I think, and TikTok since I first watched it. And it's such a weirdly goofy but also serious fandom. I just really enjoy it, so I definitely wanted to kind of throw this in at the end so that I could add her onto the ranking. Okay, so welcome back to the tier list. Some in real life weeks later for me, but just a few seconds for you. I went ahead and put Anya in B because I think about her a lot right now, and I think her story affected me a lot, but maybe not in quite the life-changing way that these three did. And so I don't want to put her over them. So she's here. And I think I'm pretty satisfied with how this tier list turned out. The vibe I ended up getting when I was reorganizing it is that my favorite character for the show, if it wasn't in S, is an A, and then any others are right under that, with the exception of Nintendo characters, simply because it feels weird to put them over Naruto characters. The Nintendo characters just don't have that much writing, so that's just what made sense in my brain. I would put Minnie Mouse in that same category if she wasn't my childhood plush, but outside of the final tier list ranks, I did want to do a final analysis of what I think these favorite characters say about me, because I'm not sure if that point got across to the rest of the video as well as I would have liked. I definitely was analyzing how I got into the fandom and things about the character that I liked and patterns, right? So we did talk about how I like people with bird names. I like those that have a bad background but don't let it make them a bad person. I think that that definitely says that I like to believe that there is a chance for everyone to be happy. I think that's what that says about me. When it comes to me liking the weird character, I just feel like I've always been a little bit weird, a little bit nerdy, and not in with what everyone else is into. I always have these niche interests like American Girl dolls or an indie psychological horror game or shows that came out in the early 2000s that people just remember from when they were in elementary school. It feels like only recently have I actually been into any fandoms that are alive. I'm always into stuff where shows are over and maybe not the most popular. So being into Naruto/Boruto and One Piece has definitely been a different experience. A good one, for sure. It just kind of broke that pattern a little bit. I also think because I was weird and shy growing up, and now a little bit, maybe, I always liked friend groups. And again, I think the idea that even if maybe you're not a great person or an interesting person, that there's still people out there that are meant to be your friend. And that makes me sound like I have no one in my life. I do. I have friends and family that I love very, very much. I am not a sad teen anymore, but I still connect with those characters. You know, like their backstory, my backstory. I can still relate to them. And I think the last interesting thing that I noticed as I talked throughout this video is I was a lot more confident talking about interests that you could argue are generally more masculine or male oriented, or maybe that both like, rather than interests that would generally be categorized as girly. So I was nervous talking about American Girls and Disney and Miraculous Ladybug, whereas when Marvel would come up or One Piece, that was easy to talk about. And maybe, just maybe, I had the right amount of energy at the time. Maybe I just had more to say. But I do think it's interesting that I was shy talking about the more girly interest when fangirls and typically girly interest are usually treated as less than male interest. And what I mean by that is sports. You will be ridiculed for liking Taylor Swift and following Taylor Swift, but not if you follow football in the same way. Well, if you're a man at least. And I did not mean to get political with this, but I think it's interesting how characters and fandom that you like mirrors your life and real issues in some ways. Like, I have always been a very independent personality, and I am a woman, and I really, as you can see with my chart, I'm very attracted to strong female characters and soft men, maybe? I just think that all of that is an interesting takeaway from a silly video of me rambling about my favorite characters. But I've always found stuff like this interesting. I did a series of portraits, which in the end didn't get the best of reviews from my professors, but in school I did a series of portraits where I talked to my friends about what they were obsessed with, and I took a video of them talking about it and then drew them talking about what they loved, and I got to hear about why and how this obsession started and how it was something to comfort them. And it's super interesting. I should definitely kind of go back and look at those pieces again. But I'm going to leave this video here. Thank you so much for listening to my rambling throughout this whole video, whether it's about a silly little character or about life. Thank you. This is the time that I remind you that if you like the video, please like the video, subscribe. I would love to have you back. I'm going to be uploading a lot of videos this year. I have all of the socials that are on the screen right now, and I will be seeing you again soon. Bye.